The Division is coming out this year. Fingers crossed, we don't get no more slips. And Ubisoft brought out a bunch of games last year. Some of them were pretty great.
Yeah.
Some of them maybe a little bit, mediocre. What was your favorite sort of game out of stuff like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry?
Valiant Hearts.
Valiant Hearts.
Yeah, Valiant Hearts and Shadow of the Light, I think, were the highlights for them last year. But out of that more AAA group, I think Far Cry was the show.
Yeah, Far Cry for sure.
Have you guys noticed that they have this sort of, last year, there's a lot of sort of conversation about, I daren't say homogeny, but there's definitely some like mechanics to keep repeating across that,
Sure.
their games, be it like the climbing on top of a tower to
Sync your points.
Yeah. Literally, that's in Watch Dogs,
Yep.
It was in Far Cry, it was in both Assassin's Creed games as well. Massive influence on co-op as well, especially in like The Crew. Again, was another game that was like, I've been happy playing it single player, but it was like super co-op focused.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed that across like all of their games? How do you feel about this sort of the fact that they have this one, I guess, this set of rules that they're applying to all the different franchises? Do you think some have benefited and some have like been hindered?
Sure. I mean, the big one for me that's alarming is the co-op trend.
Yeah.
After E3, right, and everybody showed their next gen games or whatever, I was like, okay, so this generation is going to be defined by playing with other people. Great. And then everything comes out broken, and the servers are down on Christmas, and it's like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, and like you're talking about the Division, and I'm talking about Evolve, and I'm talking about all these games that are coming up, and it's like, crap.
Yeah.
Like, this is terrifying. This is what it's gonna be.
I mean, I remember when we talked about, the Division is so intriguing to me. It's set in New York, which is awesome. It's very post-apocalyptic. I love the dystopian kind of stuff. I mean, that's great. But my biggest question when we heard about the game was like, can I play it by myself?
Yeah.
And they eventually said yes. But of course, you feel like you're getting less of an experience when these games seem to be designed around a cooperative experience, which I'm notorious, like I don't want to play online. Like I want to play by myself at my own pace. These are the kinds of games where I just want to take my time, and you can't do that with people chattering in your ears and someone blowing your cover or something like that. So yeah, I agree that there is a homogeny between a lot of the Ubisoft games in terms of formula, which I'm sure is intentional. And people seem to like it. So
Yeah.
Did you guys? Sorry, go on.
No, I mean the thing with the Division that's interesting that sort of distinguishes it from the Far Cry co-op, the Assassin's Creed Unity co-op, maybe not so much the Crew co-op, but like. It seems like the co-op here is also dependent on other groups of cooperative players coming into your universe, because that was the big reveal at the end of the trailer. They first showed off at E3 a couple years ago was, oh, we're fighting our way through here, but then there's this other team here, there's this other team here, and those are not NPCs. They're people who are talking. They're people that populate this world. That makes it more dangerous. That makes it more exciting. And I think that just like doubles down on that risk reward of online connectivity all the time, co-op all the time.
Yeah.
See, the thing about like Assassin's Creed, for instance, was like that's a sort of a single-player game that they have allowed a co-op piece of, and that you could say is largely the same for Far Cry 4 as well. Like you can just play that game on your own.
Exactly.
or
Far
they
Cry
stick
4
it
is
in.
like, just hey, there's another guy here.
Yeah, here's
go
the
do
dude.
stuff.
Yeah.
You can't do any of the main stuff. Just go take down outposts. Like, all right.
But then The Crew was a game that was trying to like made co-op such an integral part of it that over Christmas I couldn't play it because it was an online game, even though I never do any co-op with that whatsoever. My worry, I guess, is that with The Division, it being a sort of a co-op like centric game, that perhaps like do you ever worry that like a really good, when they put all that time and effort into like ham-fisting this co-op experience into a game, that perhaps that would have been time spent making like a really good single-player experience. Like I'm probably like you, like I love playing games like Fallout for 400 hours.
And that's my big fear, man, with Fallout. I mean, we were just talking about that. Was Fallout 4? One of my predictions.
Colin's prediction is like Fallout 4 is coming this year. Announced at E3, comes out this year, and I'm like, and when do we get the beta for multiplayer? And it's like,
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my on our new games podcast, one of the things I said was I think Fallout 4 gets announced in the next couple months. I think that Fallout 4 they'll have a hands-on event. They'll show something at E3, and then we're going to release it this year. Like I really believe that. I think that they're like sitting on it, and there's no reason to prolong the agony for people. They kind of.
I thought it was going to be announced at 2 events this year.
Yeah.
Like I was sure possibly E3, and I guess Gamescom is a bit of a weird one, but the VGX Awards, because they'd done it before.
Sure.
They
Right.
announced,
Yeah.
I think it was Skyrim was announced when it was on Spike.
Right.
This is like a game that we're sort of there are little hushes about it. Like it's definitely in development.
Yeah, and my big fear with that game, like I love Fallout 3 and I love New Vegas. I think those are both fantastic games. And I'm so afraid that like you're not gonna be able to play them the way that they're designed to be played. The great thing about that game is like I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna walk in this
off,
direction,
yeah.
and then some like guy is gonna run by and like shoot you, or you're gonna have to be with some friend shattering. I don't know. It's just like there is something. There's the sanctity of the single player experience is waning, and that's like really a bummer to me.
I feel like there will be games that won't do it, and I really think Fallout won't. Because that's what you're talking about. But they understand if somebody walks by and like teabags a rad roach and runs off.
There were 2 separate Fallout Onlines in development at one stage as well. Like I think Bethesda had one, and then who was it? Interplay, I think, owned the license in the first place. They were also, and there was a bunch of like legal battles over the course of like 2 years for that. So they've been trying to
It's not crazy,
right? But the point,
but not in the main game.
But the point is that that's its separate product that is more online or MMO focused. I mean, they did the same thing with Elder Scrolls, and you hope that Elder Scrolls 6 is what we want it to be, and that they're also going to have the Elder Scrolls Online, which is its own thing to kind of please both people. Hopefully that formula works. I don't know how successful Elder Scrolls Online has been.
I guess the question is kind of, is it a zero-sum game? As the ascendance of all these co-op games, these online-only games, these games that are meant to be played pretty much with people.
Yeah.
Does that take a piece of the development pie from these massive single-player experiences, or does it just grow and continue to grow and broaden? Does one take away from the other?
I don't think, we always talk about this, right? There's always different teams, it seems like, right? There's your multiplayer team and your single-player team. So I don't know how much it's taking away the development as much as it's taking away the money. You know what I mean? There are budgets in a reality with a business that is gaming. And so to have a second team, it could have been money that was funded over here to make this work and make it go.
One of my worries is that because this is something we've seen across like so many Ubisoft games, and like this is a studio that's spread across the world, that like perhaps this was something that was said from the high ups 2 years ago, and that their entire model has been based around trying to then hiring people who are like involved in that type of coding or involved in that type of design. Like we're talking about Fallout. Like for me, The Division looks like a really interesting, like modern Fallout almost. You're like wandering around this world, like, finding survivors, like running into like individuals and bandits and whatnot. I really want to play that game on my own, and like something terrifying about like you just being forced into doing it. Because the funny thing about co-op is that like often games that like maybe are quite boring are fun in co-op. Like I spent most of, well maybe that doesn't count, but I spent most of Christmas playing UFC on the PS4 with my brother drunk, because every game is fun when you're playing with a buddy. Like Borderlands, the game I feel.
Oh like yeah, exactly.
Like, I never ever played Borderlands on my own.
I mean, the current example is Destiny.
Yeah.
Like, like in the beginning, Destiny comes out and everybody's like, oh, this story sucks. And now you look at these people hooked on it, and no one's listening to what you're saying on what the game's saying on the raid, right? It's like, shoot that, do that, all right, go do that, and then you just BS around with your friends while you run around, and like, that's great, that works. That Borderlands, that works. That's why I love it, and that's why I wasn't interested originally in Tales from the Borderlands. It came out and it's like a story based around Borderlands. I'm like, I know Handsome Jack's a bad guy. Like, I don't know the story of it. But then when you play it, it's like, oh, this is amazing. This is a really funny story. It doesn't need me to know Borderlands, thank goodness, because I don't know, because I run around and play with my friends.
So I guess we're going to have to wait and see if The Division is something you're going to be forced to have to play. I'm so worried it's going to be like The Crew, but with third-person shooting.